It wants to magnetize, but it's not going to. A lot can change in the course of a year, a month, or even a day. That is probably the biggest thing that I learned since my last video. This is going to be a really brief update for my channel now that I'm back full time doing content again. I watched my first 3 videos on WriterTube. I watched them back today, just reminiscing on the content dreams that I once had before reality hit, and I realized that a full-time corporate position while also trying to do YouTube, Instagram, and all of the other platforms was not sustainable, not realistic for me. I may have been able to do a little bit more and post at least a few more times had it not been for the 2 pink lines that showed up about a month after I started that new job. I was pregnant almost all of last year. It's so surreal to see pictures and videos of yourself, a younger you, from before a time of great change, and then reflect on that and be like, wow, I'm an entirely different person. Here I sit, we've moved. I have obtained a 3rd mismatching bookshelf. I now stare into the eyes of my firstborn son. He is watching me record this. And it's a special treat for him because I hate recording videos in front of anyone else. I did my corporate job for a year, and then I decided that I needed to be home with my little guy. That's where we're at. I now have a peanut gallery. Where's my book? I have really struggled with this book. Hold on, let me get it. Ta-da! This happened last July in the middle of my pregnancy. It's not published, but I ordered proof copies. I finished working with my alpha readers and got great feedback. I edited a lot of the manuscript, and then I formatted it as practice and ordered a print copy from KDP, and this is what it looks like. This is a placeholder cover, but I really love it. Spent way more hours of my life than I probably should have agonizing over the details. This is kind of where it has ground to a halt, so to speak. Last year, being pregnant, waiting for our first baby to get here, that was tough. But now he's here. It's because I have such a great partner that I'm able to put all of my spare time and energy back into these passions, back into these projects. I'm sure every writer has one. They have that book that just, it's unputdownable, as in you can't stop looking at it, you can't stop editing, you can't stop, there's no point at which you can say that it's done. I've gotten stuck in this time loop of endless edits and going back to TG Mons again and again and again and again. It's been through 3 rounds of queries with all rejections, which is fine. It's what I was expecting. And so I'm going to go in with a few new rounds of edits, put it back out there, and in the meantime, start my next book project. For my next book project, I decided that I wanted to approach it more methodically because I really would like to have less work on the back end, a more polished draft, a more polished story, fewer plot holes. Once I write the end on my next book, I want to be able to focus on following and riding that wave of momentum that will carry me through the polishing phases and get me through to publication faster than this one. This one is my first manuscript fresh out of my publishing program, and while I've written plenty of manuscripts before, this one I have been more critical of than any of them. All of them combined. I have struggled to know when to say enough is enough, when to put it down. And I'm building out a writing system, like a planner slash a novel workbook. Once it's done and ready for me to deep dive into it, I will be using it, demonstrating how I use the different tools. I'll also be making it available for any of my writer friends who might want to try this system that I use. I know that every writer is different, and some things that I use might not work for you and vice versa, but if that's something you're interested in, I'm almost done with it and it'll be ready for us soon. In the meantime, I am reading more books than I have in forever, and some of those are children's books because now we have a little guy, and little guy loves to read. Well, he loves to be read to. I'm also taking up audiobooks again because it is almost impossible to sit and read a book with a little baby. But it is not impossible to strap that baby in the carrier, put on an audiobook, and clean your house. And that is how I am reading a couple of Brandon Sanderson's books. I am ashamed to admit that I've never read Brandon Sanderson's works before, even though they are so highly acclaimed. They are so popular among my friend group and my peers, and my husband loves them. I've attended the lectures in person. I'm watching the new recordings from this year. So my husband insisted on reading Tress of the Emerald Sea to me while I was pregnant. We would only do like a chapter or two a night, every night for like 6 months. Gradually, we read and finished Tress of the Emerald Sea. He did read it to me while we were in the hospital. And those chapters gone from my mind. I have no idea what happened in those chapters, but we finished it just a couple weeks after we brought our baby home, and that was so sweet. I loved it. I can't recommend it enough. Tress of the Emerald Sea is now one of my top reads and one of my favorite books. It is so bizarre in the beginning. Full disclosure, like the first chapter, I tried to read it a couple times on my own, and I couldn't get past how bizarre it was. But if you push on and trust the process, Brandon Sanderson is an expert storyteller, and it was fantastic. It was so rewarding. After that, we listened to Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. Oh my gosh. It was so good. And that is a firm, I'm just going to say it, read the epilogue, okay? If you're not someone who normally reads epilogues, read the epilogue. That's all I'm going to say, okay? And now I'm reading Warbreaker. Next, I'm planning to start either the Mistborn series or Way of Kings. I am in so deep now, like there's no going back. Lots of big changes around here. Lots of big changes. I have a new boss. We have a new house. Everything is different. But some things will always remain the same. My love for storytelling, my projects, my commitment to connect with the community and help out where I can. That's the update for today. I hope you'll come back. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a like. Leave a comment if you want. And hope you'll wander by again. Thanks.